right, so let's move on to the chapter 642 question. First question is about preparing the revenues budget. So we need to understand how much is the budgeted price and the selling volume, right? So it says the school's CEO expects to sell 2,900 snowboards during 2021 at the estimated retail price of $650. So that's gonna be what we need. Okay, so let us calculate this. And we get 1,885,000. Next question is about preparing the production budget. So we need 3 ingredients as we have talked about. So the first is the sales volume of 2,900, and we also need the beginning inventory of 500 and the ending balance of 200, right? So 2,900 sales volume plus the ending balance, which is 200. So these two make up the requirements for the finished goods in stock. And then among them, they do not need to produce all of them, but can subtract the beginning balance of finished goods, which is 500. Okay, so how much would this be? 2,600, right? Okay, let's move on to number 3 on materials usage and purchase budget. So this was related to the Schedule 3. So we first need to multiply 2,600 production volume that we have calculated in Schedule 2, and then what we need. We need to know how much materials for each output, right? And that's all already given to us in the first table, materials and labor requirements table. So if you see here, wood requires 9 board feet per snowboard. So that's going to be 23,400 board feet. So this is for what? For wood. How much is for the fiberglass? This is going to be 2,600 times 10 yards. Right? So this is easier, 26,000 for fiberglass. All right, now that we have the usage budget, we need to also take care of the purchase budget. Well, actually, let us first calculate the DM usage in cost term. Okay. So here, we need to be quite careful because it's under FIFO, meaning first materials that are in stock should be used first, right? So we see on the second table that some of the direct materials are there at the beginning of the year. So we need to first take that into account, right? So in cost term, let us first start from wood. So we have 40 board feet times what? So for this, the unit price is a bit different. It is $32 per board feet. And then the remaining, the difference between the actual usage and the beginning inventory is something that we are using for the current using for the current purchase. So we multiply by 34. So let's calculate this. So we have $791, $520 for wood usage. Let us also do the same for the fiberglass. So we first take into account the beginning balance of 1040, and then we use the acquisition price in the last year, which is $8 per yard. Let's do the same as we have done for wood. So the usage is 26,000, and therefore we are going to use the difference between 26,000 and the 1040 times. How much is this year? It's 9. So let us also calculate this number. Times 9 is going to be 232, 960. Okay, so that is for the Schedule 3A and Schedule 3. Oh, yeah, this is just for Schedule 3A. We need to further do for the DM purchase. Okay, let us erase the upper part. So first, in unit term, how do we define the DM purchase in units? So we need to first consider by adding up the DM usage in units, 23,400, and then we need to also calculate the ending inventory, adding up the ending inventory, which is 1540, right? And then we need to further subtract the beginning balance, which is 2040. This would be how much you purchase wood during this year. Well, actually, this is not for each year. It's for the monthly budget. Yeah, so the wood purchase is going to be 22,900 units. Let's do the same for the fiberglass. So the fiberglass usage is 26,000 units. So that keep that in mind. Let me just use it as FG, or yeah, this is referring to fiberglass. So 26,000 units plus the ending inventory of 2040 yards minus 1040. We can actually do with the eyeballing that this is 1,000, so it means 27,000 units of fiberglass is gonna be purchased during this month, right? Okay. Now let us move on to number 4 on manufacturing labor cost. It's now 4. So we need to consider the production unit as well from the schedule 2. Remember, it was 2600. How many hours are used for producing 1 unit of output? It says it's 5 hours, so we multiply by 5, and then we also need to figure out what is the unit price for labor. So it's going to be 29. Oh, I made a mistake. So for the purchase, we also need to calculate in a cost budget, right? So since we have these physical unit number, then we can also do for the cost budget. So 22,900 times. Now, in this case, we are buying this wood at the current price. So we are going to use $34. So that's going to be $778,600. How about for the fiberglass? We can do 27,000 units times 9. Right? So it's going to be $243,000. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next question in schedule 4. So as I mentioned, its production unit is 26, and required hour per output is 5, and then the unit price is 29. So it's going to be 3,770,000. Oh, well, actually, this is 2,600, not 26,000. So it's going to be 377,000 dollars total. Okay, now let's move on to schedule 5 on overhead costs. Yeah, so overhead cost comes next. So here we have the variable manufacturing overhead cost of $7 per labor hour, right? $7. And we also know how many actual hours are used, right? So 2,600 production unit times 5. So this is going to be our variable MOH. This is the MOH. And then how about for the fixed cost? We have 81,000. Right? Let us first calculate the former. It's 91,000 plus 81,000. So this is going to be $172,000 for overheads. Okay, so far was quite okay, and 6 and 7 is also related to MOH rate. So it says what is the manufacturing overhead rate for January 2021. So we can use 172,000 and then divide by what? The actual labor hour, right? So it's 26,000 times 5. So we have about $13.23 per labor hour. 7, the number 7 is about what is the MOH cost per output unit. So we can divide 172,000 by what? 2,600. Then we have about $66.15 per ounce. Okay. Now we are toward number 8. So number 8 is about calculating the cost of snowboard manufactured in January 2021. So this is about what is the unit cost, actually. What is the unit cost of manufacturing a snowboard? And we need this information to calculate the ending inventory of finished goods, right? So we are going to actually rely on the current manufacturing cost using the current unit price of each elements from the DM, DL, and MH. And we're actually going to use this as well. So moving on to 8, cost of snowboard. So let's start from wood. So we need 9 board feet. And we're going to multiply by 34, which is the current unit price. And now fiberglass, we need 10 times 9 DL 5 hours times 29. And then lastly, we have 66.15. Okay, so how much is this number? This is about $607.15. Okay. Now let us move on to 9. Now we are towards schedule 6B, right? So as I said, ending inventory should be considering both DM and finished goods. So for DM, we have wood and fiber, right? So wood, how much is the ending inventory for wood? So it's going to be 1540, and we are going to rely on the current unit price because we are looking at the ending finished goods. So they should be relying upon the current price, right? Instead of the previous year's price. So fiberglass is 24 yards times 9. And then we don't have any inventory for labor, so we're going to skip that. Let us first calculate these numbers. In the end of the day, we want to sum up every elements. Now we're moving on to finished goods. Oh, well, yeah, it was not a good choice to use FG because we have another finished goods. So let's just use it as fiber. So FG, we are actually going to use this, right? And how much is the ending inventory? It says 200 snowboards are going to be kept. So 200 times 607.15. It's going to be 121 for $30. Yeah. Now let us add up all the numbers. It can be slightly different from your number because the way I rounded up is at the second decimal point, but you can do it in a integer or third decimal point, whatever. It's okay. Now let us move on to 10, cost of goods sold budget. So here, actually, I have told you about first calculation on using the traditional method. And then I've also said there is a more convenient way where we can just multiply the sales volume with the unit manufacturing cost. But here, the unit manufacturing cost does not take into account uh, the current inventories, the beginning inventories manufacturing cost. So there are some unit differences in unit manufacturing cost because we apply FIFO. So we're going to actually rely on the traditional method when we are calculating the cost of goods sold budget. So for this, I need to rely on the numbers that we've already got, which I have it in my paper. So we first start from the beginning finished goods inventory. It's important that the beginning inventory would have a different unit manufacturing cost. And if you read through the lines, it says that the unit manufacturing cost from the previous period is actually 374.8. So that's what we are going to actually apply. 374.8 times the beginning inventory is 500. So if you calculate this, I already have it as 187 for $1,000. And then I've mentioned that there is no difference between COGM and TMC under the budgeting process because we don't budget for the work in progress, right? So what we do is we bring the DM, DL, and MOH budgets that we have calculated before. So DM is from Schedule 3A, right? So if you remember, this was 1,024,480, and DL was 377,000, and labor was 172,000. After we sum all this up, we have the cost of goods available for sale. But let me skip that part, and we can subtract the ending balance, right? So ending balance is based on Schedule 6B, which we have already calculated as 121. So after we do this, we have $1,639,480. Okay. Now let's move on to the income statement. So we first start from revenue, which we got from Schedule 1. So revenue, we had 1,085,000. The cost of goods sold that we've just got is 1,639,480. So the difference between this would be gross margin, which I will skip, and SG&A. So there are some SG&A costs, like the variable marketing cost of $250. I believe it was per sales visit times 38. And then we can also add up the fixed non-manufacturing cost of 35,000. So after we subtract all this, we have $202,020 in total.